All right. Well, welcome back to the Ichi podcast, where we are always consistent and we're always recording. We always have something new to talk about. And actually, we're very early because what we were planning once a month. This is technically like 2 3 weeks.
Definitely not
I,
2
I
weeks.
guess
It's been at least 3
Th-
weeks.
3 weeks. Hey, it's still a record. It's still a record of consistency. Um, I promise, man. Just when I was working on that site page, I was like, gosh, I'm horrible. Like the hop of just 2 years, which technically we recorded the one in 2021, but that one may or may not go up. I'll see. But yeah, this is a little special one as we are going to talk about the convention we just went to I guess 2 weeks ago, or has it been 2 weeks? No, it's been a week. Sorry, a week ago. CamiCon.
2 weeks. No,
So
no, it's been a week. Yeah.
yeah, it's just been a week. Yeah, I was like, wait a minute. It feels like 2 weeks because I feel like it was on the like single digits of February, but it was technically like what the 9th through the 11th, I believe, something like that.
10 to 12.
10 to 12. Okay, yeah, close enough. But yeah, just a little background on CamiCon. CamiCon is, I don't know if it's the biggest convention in Alabama, anime convention in Alabama,
I
but it's
think it is,
definitely a
yeah.
pretty large. Yeah, it's a pretty large anime convention for Alabama. They've been hosting it every year since, I forget the original date. They have it on their website, but they've been hosting it for a while. I've actually gone probably 3 or 4 times, although for the past 2 3 years I haven't been. So this was my first time in a while. For you, this is your second time going ever. You went last year.
Yeah.
And just a short overview. It was pretty good, but we'll dig into it here in a second. But I'll actually a question. So what's your general thoughts on CamiCon? I guess from last year and this year, as a convention, how do you feel about it? I guess.
It's definitely a lot better prepared and streamlined compared to last year. They even went all out and got like hard ID cards and badges. Like, hey, that's pretty nice. Versus last year, it
Man,
was just printed paper on some plastic card holders.
that's an excellent point because when I got my like physical actual badge this year, I was like, oh my gosh, like what did they have upgraded? I'm used to like the little flimsy paper that they used to give us back in the day, and yeah, no, the badge itself was just a nice upgrade. Because that, like you said, that was an upgrade from the previous year, right? And
Yep.
really, I would say the previous year probably was greatly affected by COVID, just as a lot of other things were. Well, I guess it was on the outskirts of the pandemic, but I mean, it's always held in February, so like it was still somewhat within that COVID timeline. But yeah, anything else that sort of sticks out to you about the convention before we sort of talk about what we were up to?
It was probably twice, 2 to 3 times bigger this year, I'd say. And all the got some pretty big name industry voice actors and stuff. For some reason, there's a lot of Nickelodeon people there, like the guy who
Very,
plays Squidward,
very
right?
many.
The arcade was bigger, nicer. They brought back the machines. I don't know how they did because it's a whole different company from the year before. Last year was a pretty small offering. And the land center was pretty impressive. They got like 40, 50 PCs there, bunch of consoles.
Yeah,
But
it was
the
arcade's always pretty nice. Definitely I feel like the LAN setup was pretty newish, but yeah, I was looking at all of those PCs for all of that stuff. I was like, man, they really get the whole setup in here. And yeah, the machines were really varied and nice as well. Again, we'll go into more detail when we talk about the specifics of the trip, but I hate I didn't play on the Marvel 2 machine, but just the fact that it existed was really nice. And it was an actual Marvel 2 cab, which, fun fact, there's not like an official Marvel 2 cab. A lot of the times they would have a custom setup for Marvel 2 and just would design around that. There was no uniform like cabinet, say like the Neo Geo cabinet had. But anyways, yeah, arcade was nice, and the general just layout was nice. Definitely changed a lot because from my perspective, I know you said it was bigger than last year. It was the size, at least of the crowd and such, seemed about the same or a little smaller than some of the previous years, but at the same time, like the utilization of the space seemed like it conformed to a much larger crowd. That could also be because of the time that I showed up because I got there around like what 3 like 2:40 ish that around that time. So folks could have petered out a little bit since it was past lunch and that time period.
Oh, that's when all
But
the no wait, that's Saturday. Never mind.
yeah, that was Saturday. Which I hated couldn't go Friday. And actually, since we're on that point, I will go ahead and start transitioning to some of our personal events over there. I really hate I missed Friday specifically because of the one table, and I forget who the vendor was, but there was the one table where they had 50% off all of their anime, so all Blu-rays, all DVDs, as long as you had cash. And I looked at their tables Saturday, and they had so many good titles, so many fantastic potential deals that were missed because I was not able to get there on Friday.
You should have come with
I'm still
us.
salty. I should have just rode with y'all. That is my fault. That is my fault. But I am mourning that competitively priced Voltus V that I could have gotten for 50% off. I could have finished my collection of the trilogy. Gosh. Just I forget all of the shows because they had a variety. They had a lot of out of print stuff as well. Which was really nice to see a lot of titles. One of the fun things, especially since I've gotten more so into the anime collecting sort of hobby, is like just seeing all of these different shows that I know and just be like, oh yeah, this is that one show, and oh yeah, this is that show. And it's not just knowing the show, but it's also knowing sort of how things are priced in the market. And then also, are they fleecing you? Are they about to be fleeced? It's that little fun like treasure hunt aspect of it. That sort of changed the dynamic of this trip for me from previous years. Because the previous years I was very not knowledgeable. I wasn't collecting anime like I have been in recent years. So, I sort of knew the shows that I liked, but I didn't know as much as I know now. And yeah, that table was a gold mine. But at the prices, at the non 50% off prices, it was normal market rate for a lot of them. So I couldn't really justify, getting them. But yeah, I miss Friday for that. I also say I miss Friday just because I didn't get to eat with y'all. Uh I would have enjoyed going to that Korean barbecue. It sounded delicious.
That was Saturday.
But
You just
was that Saturday?
yeah, you just came late.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. Y'all did that around like 12. That's right. Still, I missed that too. Korean barbecue sounds delicious. We need to find a place near us at some point. But anyways, was there any particular event? Because I can go on and on. I got a few different stories, but was there anything about the trip that stuck out to you? You remember it?
I think went a little too well. I missed the scuffness of last year. Like, even last year, we got some guys like backyard shack Airbnb, and it was like super scuffed. It was freezing cold, and the whole weekend it was like raining and freezing cold last year. Well, this year it was just
Yeah, that
Saturday that was cold.
yeah. I mean, yeah, the scuffed moments are the moments that make trips like that the most fun sometimes. And it definitely was pretty. Now I will say my previous years they were pretty not scuffed at all. So this one was actually pretty scuffed for me, but not in the fun way. In the like, am I ever gonna get over there sort of way. But yeah, it was pretty straightforward. And hey, you even got home relatively on time.
I mean,
you,
it's
you didn't have
only if we didn't stay on that damn dance machine.
Our
Uh,
boy is very very well skilled at DDR and similar style games, and he definitely gets his money's worth on the DDR machine. So
I
he
mean,
held you up like what till like 11 last time I believe, like y'all were there till like 11 p.m.
no, we stayed till they closed the arcade, and then we went back for
Oh,
Sunday.
that's crazy. Oh my god.
Both
Wait, you went back home Sunday or did y'all go
no, no, no.
back
We went back
for
to
a
the
little bit?
con Sunday.
Oh my goodness. That's funny. I guess the only reason y'all didn't go this Sunday is he had to go to work. So
Yeah.
that's funny. Oh my
I
goodness.
mean,
Well,
rest of the convention, I mean, there wasn't very many guests I wanted to see. Like there were virtually no internet personalities. Like last year you had Meriwether and Emirichu went to her first convention last year at Comic Con, got autographs and stuff.
interesting.
But yeah, this year didn't really interest me that much. The was it the merch, all the merch and art and stuff. There's way too many art prints from all the various artists. Not a lot of like I don't know novelty items like last year.
Mm. Which is interesting because I'm curious what type of items they sort of had last year. Now to be honest, like I feel like they've always just had the plethora of just fan or not fan artists, but artists who bring in their fan art or professional pieces or official pieces or whatever to sell. That's always been there, but honestly, as far as the other stuff, it's always felt the same. The merch that they had available felt similar to what I experienced in past years. So I'm sort of curious what they had last year that sort of caught your eye.
Oh, last year Con bought some pillows and stuff, like small little foam pillows.
You know what? That is true. They had like
I didn't
body
see.
pillows 1 year.
Well, yeah, this I think there were some body pillow cases, but not like actual pillows that they were. I know because I bought one for Con last year. It is definitely a lot less like yeah, small objects or little gizmos. Like I know the
Yeah,
Pokeball guy was there. I think the same
yeah, we saw 'em.
the lady with the small knitted animals. She was there again this year.
Mm.
Bunch of wood carved stuff.
We didn't even really check that out, which I kind of hate because I'm curious what that was. But I think that one
Those are like
was
dice towers.
yeah, it was like game stuff, game related
They were
stuff.
there last year too, I think. But
Mm.
yeah, but we didn't see any increase while just having a lot more art prints. Like, I don't want your prints, man. Not even there wasn't even that many keychains or like enamel pins or stickers.
Yeah, I'm curious where our boy got all the keychains because he said he
He bought
got
it
like
all
quite a
from
few.
like
So
one or two vendors. Well, last year there were
maybe.
like 8 different vendors with pins and stuff.
Mm,
Very
yeah.
severe lack of VTuber stuff too. There's probably like one or two vendors selling like VTuber stuff.
I assume there was a lot more of that last year,
Oh,
right?
there was a lot last year. Yeah.
I gotcha. Which, funnily enough, it's kind of crazy. I don't. Well, see, I don't have accurate historical data on the relevancy of VTubers, but definitely back when I had went, uh, I don't, I don't even think VTubers were a thing. So it's kind of interesting that they haven't, that they were there, 2021, but not, or 2022, I guess, but not this go around. So who knows? Maybe they'll come back the next year, or maybe they won't. Maybe they felt like they didn't get the return on investment to be there that they felt they should have last year, so that's why a lot of them didn't show up this time. I don't know. I don't really know the VTuber market that well, so but yeah, the honestly the biggest draw for me for the convention is always the merchandise or the booths. And personally for me, it was lukewarm. I feel in the middle. It was okay, but then some of the booths I really really liked, and that sort of made up for sort of the middle of the groundness. We couldn't talk about Kamicon, and I can't talk about my find of freaking Zabungle Blu-ray. Oh my gosh, they had two copies of Zabungle, and that is a pricey out of print Blu-ray of a Sunrise classic. So I was super excited to get that. I'm excited to watch it. But like I had been looking for that for a little bit, and at the price that it was, like 3 times less than what it's going for on the open market. So
Should have bought the
I was
other
super
one.
excited. You know, this is how I rationalize it, man. I don't know if I told you this or my wife or somebody, but if somebody else could experience the joy of finding something like that, then I don't want to rob it from them just for the sole purpose of making bank. Um, because that was a hell of a find. That was such an awesome find.
Then
Which you made a pretty
sell
good.
it for like
Oh,
$10 higher than what you bought it for.
that's a lot of effort, man. That's a lot of effort to just sell it for $10. No, if I would actually like that, I would sell it at just that right price, so it's like low enough that it looks appetizing to the people who have seen it at the outrageous prices, but still high enough that I'm making a lot of money off of it. But no, I hope somebody else would be like me and be like, oh my gosh, it's a bungle at shoot, I think it was $50, which is an incredible price for that. Um, Also, you made a pretty good find. I think at the same booth actually. You saw Renee because I was looking for that collection one. That one's out of print, but it was at the regular market price for the out of print title, and honestly, it's not worth that price. So I will continue to wait on that one. There was some pretty good finds at that one. I wish I spent a little bit more time browsing the booths. I didn't realize that they closed at 7, and I don't remember them closing that early.
And that was pretty
At
early,
previous events.
especially for
Yeah,
Saturday.
yeah, that confused me. I was like, 7 o'clock, really? But it is what it is. It probably saved my wallet and my body from being beat. So, I guess I need to explain what that means. Being beaten for spending too much money. But anyways,
No,
yeah, that
you're
was
into
that was
that
pretty
though.
strange. I another podcast, another podcast. We'll delve into that. Not here. Yeah, it was. That was a pretty good booth. There was the otaku market, which I had a really great conversation with the owner of that one. He actually is an acquaintance of the owner of Media Blasters, whose name is escaping me right now. I should know. I'll just put it in the video in text form. But he gave me a pretty good backstory of how they met and their connections and stuff, and it also directly correlated to another bit of our experience, which was the hentai room, which I will circle back around to a bit later. But that was a good booth. Of course, there is the aforementioned DVD Blu-ray booth that would have been the best booth of the event if they had still done the 50% off on Saturday. Still torn up about that, but what are you gonna do? And there was also a surprise one that we sort of found. It had a bunch of books, and man, that was the most organized set of manga I've ever seen in my life. Like just boxes and boxes of loose volumes of manga, which I actually found a pretty good find. I mean, it wasn't like the greatest price in the world, but for the condition and the price and just seeing it in the wild, it was pretty good. Hold on, let me grab it. Where'd you go? Oh, you're right there. Yes, Genshiken: Return of the Otaku, which is actually a original spin-off light novel that utilizes the characters of Genshiken, but is a completely original story with different sort of themings and stuff like that. I've seen reviews for it, and actually, it seems like people are really mixed. They're like, "This isn't Genshiken at all. What is this?" But I'm still pretty stoked to finally read it. It's published by the now defunct Del Rey, or maybe they were absorbed by Katakawa. I'm not 100% sure on that, but yeah, that was a good find. And then I think there was one more table. Oh yes, it was the table with the it just had a bunch of different imported magazines and art books and such. I picked up a book from there just on a whim. All of these, I should have just put these in front of me. Anyways, it's called Pieces Gem O2 Neural Hard, and it looks like just an original sort of short story made by the author. And I made a huge error when we were at the convention, which you don't really know the artist, so you wouldn't have corrected me. But I said originally this was by like Kenichi Sonata, and it is definitely 100% not by Kenichi Sonata. I saw the art style, and I guess I equated it to him, but no, the art style is actually I forget the first name, but it's Shiro. Shiro, I think that's how you say it. Hirow. But
Shiro?
the mind Shiro, maybe, yeah. But the mind behind Ghost in the Shell and the greatest anime of all time. I was about to say Gunbuster. No, it's Gun. Gosh, what is that? Gun Barrel? Gosh, I'm gonna get it flamed for forgetting what that anime is. It's not that great,
No
but
one watches this thing.
regardless, yes, yes, they might. I mean, once we get famous, they're gonna go back and they're gonna dig through this and they're gonna be like, "What the hell are they talking about? What are they rambling about?" But yes, Shiro, this is his, I guess, just little short story, and it also seems to have a bunch of like Arthur information, talking points. The art is beautiful. It's really nicely detailed. At some point I'll really sit down and like dig through it, but it's pretty nice. I sort of hate that I didn't leave with the DNA squared poster from that same booth, but I have nowhere to put it, so it was probably for the best that I didn't grab it. But that was a really nice DNA squared poster. They also had another anime over there, and I forget what that was. That I was curious about grabbing something from. But yeah, overall the few booths that had like good just old anime stuff that I could dig my teeth into, I was pretty satisfied with. There was a random booth when I made my second go around that had like two brand new copies of volumes 1 and 2 of Ghost Slayer's Ayashi that I picked up for $5 a pop, which was a fantastic deal on those. So I was happy with that. That was something that I had been eyeballing for a while, and it's not a very expensive show in the open market, but that's still a fantastic price for those. What else did I pick up besides the bungle? I'm trying to remember. I'm not. That might have been it actually, which seems like not that much in retrospect. I felt like I had at least gotten one more thing besides the book. That we'll talk about in a little bit. But yeah. Overall, I was just for Zabungle alone, I was satisfied with this trip. But yeah, I do think in the future they may want to I don't know, expand with sort of different things. I feel like when you have all of those sort of art prints, just a bunch of art prints in the same plushes and all of that, like it's just sort of congested rather than, fun to actually browse. Like it's literally the same thing. You go to like one table and you get Gunpla, then you go to the next one and then you get plushies, and then you go to the next one, and then it's like 5 rows of like art prints, and then you just complete the cycle until there's maybe like something unique, like the chopstick booth or the game wooden carved game booth, or I don't know, some of those random things, But overall, I was satisfied.
I'm glad you
But
found something in that only 7 hours you were there.
yeah, I mean, you got to see firsthand my I guess my treasure hunting tenacity, just digging and digging, especially that book booth. Man, that one was intense. There's just so much in there. So much in there. But they said they were having a sister event, and was it in
Huntsville.
is it was it in Huntsville? Um I'm curious what that one looks like. I'm kind of curious. I mean, we'll see. We'll see what the future holds. But yeah, I'm surprised I found what I found. I still think there was some hidden stuff there that I could have gotten some insane deals on, but we'll save it for another convention. Um, I guess before I get off the merch, we have to talk about the hentai room. We have to talk about the hentai room. So
Underwhelming.
originally, originally my condition for coming this year was we go to the Faku booth. The Faku booth has been a reoccurring booth at this convention every year. So it was there every year I went. It was even there last year when Navin went. It was not here this year. And it was very disappointing. However, the Otaku Market, who partnered with Media Blasters to provide some of the adult content available at the convention, they had a specialized little room that you could, you had to wait in the line, and obviously it was concealed because there's tons of children at the event. But you would go in, and it had DVD releases, it had actual PC games, it had doujinshi, it had some of the Faku books, published books as well. Tell me, Navin, now that I have you on air, why did you renege?
Because
I got
it's
you,
not a Faku booth.
but the books were there. You didn't buy a book.
There weren't even really good books.
Yes, but it's just the principle. It's just the principle. You leave with a book. It's the experience.
I mean, I don't even know any of those artists that were there. See, most of the artists I know don't usually publish books or like volumes of stuff.
It doesn't matter. You don't just buy from the artist. Look, I didn't look for a specific artist. I just looked at the cover and I was like, all right, I'll take a chance. I don't even know any of the artists. It's probably a good thing.
What?
But yeah, I just look at the books and I'm like, okay, let's see what this is about. I mean, that would have essentially been what you were doing with the doujinshi if you would have grabbed one of those, which I was
What?
surprised at
Seasonal
how much
booty?
those were upcharged. Yeah. I was kind of surprised at how much those were upcharged, especially when you had the nice collected Faku books that were only like 20 a pop, which is what the MSRP for those. But like the Dojinshi, which were much less, they were a little bit higher than those books. It's kind of crazy to me. Um, but anyways, the next time we go to a convention with an adult section, specifically hentai, because that could get way more specific. You gotta buy something. Again,
I
even if you
mean,
can't take it with you, you gotta grab something.
good thing you specified hentai, because there was the booth like on the left column that had like all kinds of like straps and stuff and whips. Like, gee,
He's lying, but
nay, I'm not
but
lying. It was there. They had all kinds of like saddles and bridles and stuff. And you said they hid that stuff for because there's children around. Nah, there's no use in hiding that. There's plenty of
yeah,
booths
the
with
the
just
closest
hanging out around, hanging around.
right, yes. He's not lying. I mean, there were the tails and the ears booth.
No, not
So
not
yeah,
the
there was
tails
a
and the
bunch of
ears,
that.
the leather.
Look, man, I don't know what convention you went to, but I didn't see no leather.
You saw it. You saw it.
I, I didn't see it.
The leather, whip, saddles, gag, spiky
Oh my
things.
goodness. Yeah, I think you left secretly when we were just doing whatever, and you went to Miranda's. Gosh, I forget what that chain is called. It's Miranda's something. I forget, but either way, yeah. Yeah. The convention was pretty good though. The arcade was good. Again, you had an opportunity to step up for Pokken, and you didn't step up to the plate to play some Pokken. I was upset, but it's okay. I understand. No experience with the Pokken. You did step up to the Neo Geo cap though, and I will concede that you won Bobble Bobble, but that game was rigged from the beginning.
Concede that I
Uh,
won. Bruh, I destroyed you.
and that there was hey, there was no destruction. There was no destruction. It
5 to
was
2.
sim. You know, we'll continue this at another point. Maybe we will seek emulation and just run that back. It's actually kind of funny how random the Bobble Bobble happened. I was just trying to figure out how to change the game from King of Fighters. So I didn't blow you up in that, but somehow landed on Bobble Bobble. But it was pretty fun. I think that was actually my first time ever playing Bobble Bobble, strangely enough. And I played I mean, I primarily play retro games, so that's it's pretty
That
interesting.
game is kind
But
of bullshit though.
not kinda,
You can't
just garbage.
you
But
can't snipe between two orbs. It just gets stuck there. Like, goddamn.
well, I think you can. We just weren't skilled. We weren't skilled enough yet.
I'm
We
pretty
just got
skilled
on
at
the
those
stick.
kind of games. It just doesn't
Yes,
work.
you. Yeah, it's skill, man. It's skill.
Like, you can't fit
What
between the gap of two orbs into like a space that's behind it. Because technically, it is smaller than the gap is smaller than the orb. But modern games, they let you like slip through it.
Well, see, that's modern gaming sensibility. Modern gaming makes it easier for you, and it's more comfort food. Older games have that, tougher mentality. Either you figure it out or you don't. Like you can't use the gap. You just got to find a way to break the rest of the baubles around the area that you're trying to hit, so that you can actually get to what you're trying to get to. I mean,
Still one though.
but yes, we'll run that back. We'll run that back. Um, yeah, I hate I didn't get to play on the Marvel 2 cabinet, but I said that earlier, but I was glad it was there. They had Initial D, which was surprisingly always full of a line. Very curious to me because actually they had a crazy taxi cab to the left of it. And that one, of course, had somebody own it, but like there was no line for it. But like people were lined up for Initial D. And that was pretty cool to see, honestly.
Should have used it.
They had
I
just
should have used it
oh, go
Friday.
ahead.
There was like no line Friday. I was like, I could do
What?
this all day.
Why didn't you step up?
I didn't think there'd be a line tomorrow.
This man. Well, yeah, that was crazy just to see the line for Initial D. What else was there? I hate I didn't play Puyo Puyo, but I mean, it is what it is. I actually prefer Puyo Puyo Tetris. Um, they had that the last year that I went, and I played that with a bunch of people, four way on the machine. That was pretty fun. I actually played against a really good Puyo Puyo player, uh, playing that way. And I actually held my own a little bit, but because I was playing Tetris, I'm much better at Tetris than I am at Puyo Puyo. But yeah, the machines there were pretty varied. You know, you had your standard arcade trappings. Of course, you had your DDR stuff, and then, like we mentioned earlier, you had the dedicated gaming setup. So they had all sorts of fighting games. They had Guilty Gear. They had Melty Blood. I'm sure they had Dragon Ball Fighters. They had Smash Brothers. And then I'm not sure what they were playing on the PCs. I assume that was like Counter Strike or something like that. I'm not totally sure. But yeah, the arcade was pretty good, pretty good. Honestly, I mean, I think it was the perfect blend of genres and machines. I mean, I don't see anything else that could have been added besides like maybe a Gundam versus arcade setup, just so people can get blessed in that game. But that's about it. One thing I hate we kind of missed because I had just gotten there so late. Was the wrestling. I might have actually wanted to watch
Oh
the
my
wrestling
god.
because that was so random. I had not paid attention to the schedule, and you just taking me to go to the merch, and then they had wrestling. I was like, "Oh my god, what is going on?" Like, girl on all fours, they're talking to the referee. There's a real crowd watching it. That I will say this, and obviously you pay like $65 to get in, so of course you get your money's worth, but it's really cool to just see the variety of different, I guess nerd culture things, otaku culture things that were available to all the people, and the people just actively participating, because like some of the things you might feel like would be a little cringe, or people wouldn't participate, but no, like you have dodgeball tournaments, you have uh rapping, I guess I forget what her name was, but she was up there rapping something, and the crowd was actively engaged. Again, you had the wrestling, you have the booths, you have the different competitions and stuff like that. It was so, for as much as there may not be anything for us there, like it's definitely a fantastic event for people who can make it out to it, and there's a ton of different stuff going on. If I do go again, maybe I'll try to participate in some of the other things that are not just buying merchandise, because that's pretty much all I really did
There's a
for
ramen
any of
eating
the years I went.
contest.
Was there really a ramen eating contest?
Yep.
Wow, that's crazy. That sounds like a bellyache, but also fun at the same time. Wait. Was it like eat as much ramen as you can, or is it like tasting?
No, it's eat as much as you can, I think. Pretty sure.
Gotcha.
They had a bunch
Yeah.
of cup
Yeah,
ramen just lined up on tables.
yeah, that's fun. That's fun stuff. So definitely pretty fun. I'll add a quick story here before I guess we say final thoughts, but with CamiCon, like it was my first convention all those years ago. Went with a really great friend of mine, and I remember the first time I went, and it was like just magical. I was like, "Oh my gosh, what is all of this?" Like, there's an arcade, and there's this merchandise, and like, you know, I had never really been to like a big celebration of nerd culture before. Never been to a convention, and I was just I loved it. And of course, I went subsequent years, and the thing with it was subsequent years, the magic starts to wear off. You sort of you become more knowledgeable, or you become more adjusted to what you're actually seeing and stuff, and so it's not just so shocking, and so you're not so willing to spend money because it's like I've seen this before. And well, this year, not having gone for like 3 or 4 years, definitely didn't have like that magical moment again. I think that's gone permanently, but it was definitely nice to go back. It was definitely nice to, I guess, be able to go back and feel comfortable going back, and to just spend a little time in the stuff, do in person like hunting for merchandise and playing in the arcade. The one thing that I hated that I didn't really get outside of our few matches on the Neo Geo machine was just actually just playing random people in the arcade. That was like, I believe the first year I went, Street Fighter 5 was brand new ish. No, it was like brand new ish. and I remember just ranking up like a win streak on people, fleecing people with Zangief, and it was just an awesome time, and just having that real arcade experience that you don't necessarily get, obviously playing online at home, or like not having an active gaming scene around you. And this was still back in the time when I was running our fighting game club, but it was just a different fun experience, and it was just really cool. And if you ever ask our guy about that particular convention, he'll let you know that I effed him up too. Nobody was safe. Everybody got the business. But all that to say, it was great to see it again. I think you know, going into the future, it may be time to look at a different convention, see, what new convention and what new place I can go to, just to experience it. And that doesn't mean I never go back to CamiCon. That just means, what are other conventions like? It would be cool to see, but, got to get into that point of traveling, got to get into that mindset. Because, with bigger cities and bigger conventions, like just the chaos that is like actually parking and getting to CamiCon, and like the congestion that was in this convention, those other ones you're like just neck to neck with people. But at the same time, like the industry, veterans, and like the booths and the merchandise that you'll get at those types of things are gonna way overshadow anything that you might get at CamiCon. So yeah, I think that's sort of my in quote on the CamiCon experience. I think too, just to ask, is there any sort of wish list that you would have for them, like going into the next year? Something that you would maybe like want them to, bring back, whether it's the event themselves or the vendors or whatnot.
Not really. Just better technology support they have for their panels and stuff. Because
Yeah,
that stuff's just kind of sad looking. It is whole
it is
room
very
full
jank
of
looking.
like 400, 500 people, and it's just like one tiny projector in the corner for
Yeah,
everyone to look at. Like he couldn't
which
at
part of
least
that
like
is
put it up on the stage or something.
part of that too is on the convention center to not have better technology. I mean, you're this whole ass convention center. I imagine they just rent what's available in the center. But at the same time too, if you're gonna put these events on, come prepared with technology to support your thing. Like that cosplay contest could have been much much better, or at the very least more visible. Since we sat all the way in the back, could barely
Those
see
cosplays kind of suck
anything.
though.
Look, I avoided that because I knew you were gonna start. Don't talk about those people, okay? Look, they're having fun.
You saw
Yes,
those
they're not.
things, man.
Look, yes, it's not the greatest cosplay, but they're having fun. They're enjoying
Yeah,
themselves.
there's no problem with
That's
them
what
having fun.
matters.
That's fine. But man, it's so jank sometimes.
Well, that's why we,
Stuff.
we would go to the bigger ones, man. Because at the bigger ones, you're gonna have like the people standing out being photographed to death. So
Yeah,
the real cosplay. Um,
yeah.
I think if I do have a wish list, right, and this would specifically be to the vendors because I really don't care as much about all the other stuff. I think they're doing a great job of adding unique and diverse content to the convention. Vendors, bring unique and cool stuff that I can't necessarily just find on the internet or on your, marketplace or whatever. Like that one year where the guy just brought a bunch of new type magazines, like old, just straight from Japan, new type magazines in pristine condition. That's the type of stuff I want to find. Like that's the type of stuff I'm looking for. I want to find like stuff that, I don't necessarily know about, or like I see it and I'm like, "Oh my gosh." And it doesn't have to be old stuff. Like that one booth that did have the imported books. There was a mixture. It was honestly, it was like early to mid 2000s anime, which is fine. Like, but you can also use new stuff, like bring stuff from Japan or maybe even other countries that, again, is fun to sort of just look at that will, educate the newer crowd, tickle my arthritis laden bones of the boomer generation that I'm from, just that sort of stuff. But it was fun. It was fun hanging out. It was fun being with y'all this year. We need to make plans for another trip to somewhere else maybe.
Comiket.
But
You heard it here first.
hmm,
We're going
come
to Comiket.
where is that located?
Tokyo.
Ha! Oh,
Comic
yeah,
market.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, I don't know about Comic Cat just yet. You know what? One year that
Eventually,
can be a
yeah.
bucket. That'll be a bucket list item, but I definitely not this
We'll
year. When
have
is
a
Comic Cat even
show.
held?
It's twice a year. Once in the summer, once in the
Twice a
winter.
year. Gotcha.
The winter is usually like on New Year's Eve that weekend.
That'd be super fun, but just super stressful as well. But also super fun.
We're gonna record
Uh
an episode there.
well, I mean, if we did that, like I would vlog. I would just personally bring my
Yeah, special edition,
camera
special
setup.
episode.
Yeah, I would definitely vlog that. That would be super fun. You know, one thing that's another thing I forgot. Wish listing, Dojinshi. I really, really want to dig my teeth into Dojinshi, and of course, since you brought up Comic Cat, that's like one of the biggest places for Dojinshi. But like, I think some of these events could, and maybe some of the bigger events in the United States do have a lot of Dojinshi. I don't know, but seeing as how the hentai room was the only place I saw Dojinshi, like let's get some more of that. There was actually quite a bit of that in the first year I went. So there was actually a lot of cool stuff in those first few years I went. And I guess, with the change in, anime trends and such, like obviously some of that stuff may not sell as well, but there's definitely still a crowd for it. And it's definitely interesting to see. But yeah, I think that wraps up the CamiCon portion, or even the podcast, if we want to just end it there. What are your thoughts?
Hmm. You did list a bunch of other things you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, which I don't know if we do it in a general purpose. I guess I can talk about it real quick. I guess we can
Or is
cut
this
this
like
bit, but
a mini episode?
yeah, I can talk about it really quick. I don't know. I feel like if I talk about it now, the CamiCon portion sort of overshadows the this bit. So maybe I'll save it for next time. Maybe I'll save it. Um, but yes, the convention was fun. I think there's really not much else to say about it. I don't think.
I didn't buy
Let us
anything this year.
participate in the wrestling.
Man,
Participate, say.
I wouldn't call that wrestling. But
You didn't watch it though, so you
I
don't
saw
know.
some of
You
it.
don't know.
Like there's like that one girl just keeps crawling around on all fours. Like, why? What are you doing?
That was like 4 or 5 seconds, man.
No,
We did.
she was doing that the
know.
whole time, and the other girl's like standing there hissing at her. Like, what?
That is wrestling. That is wrestling in a nutshell. Yeah, you didn't buy anything. Which is, I mean,
I didn't even get any
there's nothing that
autographs
caught your
or
eye.
stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I almost got that Macross model, but it was, man,
Which one though? Because there was two of them.
it was the Macross. Well, they're both Macross Plus or Macross,
Oh,
but I forgot the name of it. But
I kind of hated I didn't talk to the older guy a little bit more. The one that was like super knowledgeable, who like knew his like I don't know anything about Macross, so I couldn't match his energy. He was talking to me and not you. And I wish there was something I could like speak with him about on the anime, because now that you want to talk about the boomer generation of no anime, that guy has been watching and reading for a while, and that would have been some great conversation right there. Who knows? Maybe our paths will cross again one day. He won't remember me, but I will remember him. Um, yeah, it was. I mean, the merch just wasn't hidden, and I mean, I can't blame you for not buying anything. Honestly, I kind of just bought some things that just really caught my eye, but it wasn't just anything necessarily that was just like awesome outside of the Zabungle Blu-ray that I found.
and that booth was like the only Gunpla booth in the whole thing. Last year there were like 3 or 4 Gunpla booths.
Wait, no, there was like
Yeah,
three or
there's
four.
figure shops, yeah, that had Gunpla, but last year there were at least 3 fully dedicated Gunpla stands.
That's true. Which actually, I'll be honest, after the fact, I kind of felt a little bad because now this will be a little biased, but it was a black owned Gunpla booth, which was kind of crazy. I didn't pay attention to that. I totally would have picked up the Master Gundam Gunpla if I had known that, because I gotta support black owned businesses, especially black owned nerd Gunpla. That's such a niche that I've never thought of, like at all. But that master, I've been looking at a master Gunpla for a while. Maybe I will get one at some point, but I'm just not a big model kit guy. Like, sure, I could find spots for it, but like, mm. Although I know the fun for model kits like that are like putting it together, not necessarily displaying it. But
And if they had any any other Macross models, probably would have gotten it.
you can't really blame them though. I mean,
They
Macross
had
is
a
just not.
total of 3, and they only 2 different models.
Yeah, but again, Macross isn't that popular. I mean, in the
Man.
United States, primarily
Yeah,
because of Harmony
they got
Gold.
Robotech. They
But
didn't have it
I
at least
mean,
from the first original series.
sure, but I mean, arguably, Robotech is sort of old hat. Like, I mean, it's definitely not something that's talked about a lot in the current, anime landscape. Which, I mean, I understand because as somebody who reads and watch a lot of old stuff, like people don't necessarily know half of the stuff that I'm talking about, and I don't know half of the stuff that they're talking about. So, I mean, Robotech is kind of weird how it stays slightly so relevant, even though it's not really broadcasting anywhere. I'm sure it's streaming on something, but like it's just relevant enough that it hasn't left the public mind, but still sort of niche enough that it's no Gundam, right? At least to the West,
Man,
but
only like this past week, I'm pretty sure it was this past week. Macross had like a 40th anniversary concert like under Tokyo Tower with like a huge audience there. And like, where's that? Bring that here.
well, hopefully with the releases of everything that's not the original Macross and Forever Your Love, hopefully that'll generate some good traction in the US market, and maybe we will start getting more of that.
It's been like 2 years since that
Which
agreement.
it hasn't been 2 years, it's been like a year. I believe that was last year
It
when
was
all that stuff
March
dropped.
of something.
It was last year. I mean, we're probably getting on a year, but obviously those license things take
Yeah,
time,
it
like,
was April
Hammer and all.
2021 when
Was
they,
it really April 2021?
yep, Big West Studio Nue and
What?
Harmony Gold announced April 2021.
Damn, though. Never mind. They have been working on that for a while, but
And I haven't seen a damn thing.
I mean that makes sense. I mean, what was it? Nozomi is one of the people working on that. Right Stuff's production company, and they had a Kickstarter maybe 2-3 years ago, and for Dirty Pair, and we're still waiting to see those Blu-rays manifest. Of course, their acquisition are being acquired by Sony slash Crunchyroll. Probably, has changed a few things, but I think that's still being produced and stuff. What I find interesting though is even though they're working on those licenses, they're putting out Zetsubo Sensei uh, season 2, which that's one of those types of shows where like the translation work is like incredibly demanding and like takes a lot of time. So I'm curious what their schedule is. I'm wondering what is going on with the I guess production of those Macross releases, but we'll get them eventually. There's no way they hype that up and then they're just gonna quietly let it fall under the rug. You know, if something was going on, we probably would have known about it by now. So I guess they're just quietly trucking away on it. Both of those companies. So we'll see it. Um, you have to give us an ending. So go ahead,
I got
give it your best shot.
Man, I got nothing this time. This
You got
nothing.
none.
There's no like super cool cringe trend that has swept the internet in the past week or so.
Gotcha. Well,
Unless it's you get some AI to type something up for you.
get some AI. Well, I'll just end with my traditional end quote. You be thinking about yours for the next video. Anyways, Aniplex sucks, guys. Take care.